said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's turn on the Chuck and Bo show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
I know we've been talking about a lot of weighty stuff over the last few days here on the program, and somehow lost in the shuffle has been the news that Chad Baker Mazara is going to play for Muss next year. Now, I was around when Muss and Mason Jones, on an almost daily basis, would find themselves on the verge of throwing down. I can only imagine what it's going to be like with Chad Baker Mazara.
Muss isn't throwing down with anyone, but he's gonna.
That's because people are holding him back.
He's gonna look angry.
Yeah.
He's gonna look angry, and it's gonna be words. Be a word fight, and I don't know if people fully realize who Chad Baker Mazara is. We talk about him. He's become like a mascot for the show. He's the 26-year-old, maybe 30-year-old. I lost
no one
track
really
of his
knows.
age.
No, he's like Albert Pujols. No one really knows.
There's controversy around the birth certificate, but he's a middle-aged man that's played at Auburn this last year, and acted at times as if he were in junior high. Oldest guy on the team. Renting cars for teammates, just
the only one that's 25.
Yeah. He was the age authenticator.
Yes.
When you get an Airbnb, whatever. He's the guy that he's a good guy to have around for younger guys.
You need an old guy.
Yeah. He can get cigarettes, that kind of stuff. and so when he played against Arkansas, he just taunted the bench, ended up getting a technical and all that. And he became sort of this modern day, nowhere near Christian Laettner status in terms of a player, but this sort of modern day Christian Laettner, love to hate him kind of guy. And there was actually an erroneous report.
Yeah.
It
was erroneous.
It was birthed out of a message board, a message board post.
There was never anything
which I can't believe we still have message boards, but we do. And that Arkansas might be in on this guy.
It was actually Jeff Goodman, just for the record.
So
same thing.
There's another guy. There's another guy. Let's lock Goodman, Muss, and Mazara in a room together and start criticizing them, like throwing out mistakes, they've made in their life. Like just maybe a low light tape for each of them and just see how it goes. And they've got to take shots
Muss
at each
and
other.
Goodman are friends.
This could be good television, though. You lock them in a conference room, and it's like what happened with Shedeur Sanders. Apparently, Shedeur Sanders was shown low lights of it. This is one of the things NFL teams apparently do. They bring you in, they show you poor plays you made, and ask you what happened. And apparently, Shedeur said, as soon as it started happening, he said, "I guess I'm not your guy." Like he didn't want to go through that process.
Well, after he blamed five guys.
Yeah.
So
you get Mazara and Muss and Goodman in there. But anyhow, there was a thought that he might come here, which we thought would be hilarious because we've taken our fair amount of, shots at him as we just did a second ago, or I did. And then he ends up with Muss at USC. And you're like, wow, that's going to be fun.
One of the funniest things to see, and just for the record, I enjoyed Muss's time here.
I loved it.
I enjoyed
100%.
it very much. It was fun. But you see this guy that's like 5'7", and he's like staring straight up at some guy that's 6'8", and he's just yelling at him, calling him every name in the book, pointing up he's pointing up so he can point in his chest. And that guy's just thinking, man, I could kill this dude right now.
I know.
I could break him in half right now. And I can't touch him.
Well,
and Muss knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, Muss knew that.
Well, there are examples. There are times. Caleb Battle had a few things to say to Muss.
I know. Mason Jones did too.
They gave it back to him. And that's another interesting thing about the era we're in right now is our kids. What will kids take? What will players take from a coach? Because back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I mean, you just took, and maybe not even that far back. You took whatever the coach told you, and it's just like you dealt with it. That was it.
I'll tell you why it was okay with Mason Jones. Mason knew Muss cared about him. Mason knew Muss cared about him. Now, I don't think Caleb Battle ever really knew that. I don't think that's what he was in it for. It's a different kind of kid. I mean, look back at Mason Jones's past. Look at his family. Look how he developed as a player. He's a guy that, and I don't mean this in a bad way, he needs to know you love him. And this is the magic of coaching to me when I watch these guys, is how they figure it out. Who needs to be loved? Who needs to have their butt kicked? What motivates a young person from a world that a lot of these guys didn't come from? How do you do that? And that's why it worked with Mason Jones. And that's why, just very frankly, in the NIL, what am I making today era, it didn't work with Caleb Battle. It didn't. There was not a coach-player relationship there. And I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that's a product of the times. But if Chad Baker Mazar and Muss are like Muss and Mason Jones, Baker Mazar will turn out all right. But I don't think it's going to be like that, just for the record.
Fireworks.
I think at the end of the season, Muss will be, my God, I'm glad he's gone.
There's really no story here. It's just funny.
Well, yeah, it's just funny.
We're like, we know two personalities, and we're like, that's gonna be interesting. Everything's interesting right now in weird ways. Like
there's all this stuff on the periphery.
There's all kinds of things happening in sports right now that make you just sort of wonder what to do, like what to say, what to think. Where are we headed, both in the sport, like in general terms of college athletics? If you're in charge of the Razorbacks right now, and put your hog hat on this morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm in charge. What do you want to do? Like, where do you start, and what kind of decisions are you making? There have been some decisions made. We've got government involved. We've got, the biggest attorneys in college athletics that have been involved with groundbreaking cases involved, that have been on the other side of Arkansas now representing Arkansas. We have perceptions. We have realities. Like, what would you do to position Arkansas right now for a win, like overall? So just ask yourself that question this morning. If you're feeling, like creative and frisky and ready to go this morning with some sort of just like juice, I'd love to hear, because everybody's got a thought, but it's just a weird time. An example of it being a weird time. It used to be like we had the GOATs, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, like not that long ago. Like, you can't imagine anybody saying anything poor about these guys as coaches. One of them said, I don't want to do this anymore. The other one was basically run out of New England as if he never won all those championships, and now it's giving all the credit to Tom Brady. And the same guy who went in press conferences and didn't care what anybody had to say and would just give you the smuggest answer, like you don't even belong in here to ask me a question, and just sort of like there was a fear around Belichick, is now being just sort of walked around the neighborhood on a leash by a 24-year-old girl who's apparently running his life.
Yeah, she is.
And whether that's true or not, that is the perception.
I think it is true.
And it's just like, if you just listen, if you were, on tour somewhere and you just came back from like 5 years ago and you re-entered the sports scene, and this was your entrance, what would you say? Like, to that? Well, you would be like, what happened to Bill Belichick?
Well, he lost his mind. He's
What happened to Bill Belichick? And I know what everybody's going to say, the same undefeated thing that's happened to a whole lot of other people.
Well, I mean, you guys are young. You've not hit this stage yet. I mean, he's lost his mind. He's just lost his mind. And it's not the first time it's happened with an older man, and it won't be the last. But it's going to destroy their football program. I know from the outside looking in, guys are going, "Hey, you go get him, Bill." But
You go get him.
But that's he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
And she's going to lead him right off the cliff. And she's going to take the whole North Carolina football program with her. And you guys are silly if you think it's going to turn out any other way.
If you had to pick one photo to sum this up, which one would it be? Is it him laying on the beach with his feet straight up in the air or doing
that's a candidate. That's a can. Now look, that's one of those deals. If
what happened to Bill Belichick?
You know, look, that's one of those deals where let's say Belichick and his people, his buddies, whatever, his guys, they go on a golf trip, and all of a sudden you see a trip or you see a picture of Belichick with a 24-year-old girl holding her up by his leg. What do you think? Oh, those guys are having a good time. But you think that, but that's all it is. It's not like he's going to leave his life behind and take up with her. I mean, enjoy the moment,
Well,
but don't throw everything away.
Well, I mean,
my God,
it's really it's fascinating.
In all seriousness,
What's going on in the world? What's happening?
I'll tell you what's happening.
Who's got more problems?
And I
than we
think
do?
about this. Yeah, who's got it worse than us?
Nobody.
I don't know. There's some candidates. There's some candidates.
That's what we ought to be asking. That's why these shows like Jerry Springer were big hits, because they're right in front of you. They got it worse than you do.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton hits the game-winning shot for Indiana last night, and his dad's in Giannis's face on the court afterwards.
Giannis trying to beat his dad up.
Like we're at the Boys and Girls Club.
I know. That's exactly
What
what
are
it
we
was
doing?
like. It's what it was like. It was incredible.
Can you imagine being an NBA star and making a game-winning shot, and your dad comes out on the court and starts getting after one of the other superstars?
Yeah. What's going to happen the first time there's a late hit on Shador, if he ever plays for the Browns? Does Dion come out of the stands? Or does he just take his headset off from the sidelines and walk out onto the field?
That's another whole thing.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Dion in general at Colorado?
You know what?
What's going to happen there?
I'm going to tell you the common denominator. I'm going to get into this during the show.
Is there a
today.
common denominator
Yes,
in
there
all
is
this?
a common
A common
denominator in
thread.
all of this.
All of it.
In all of this. Shador, Belichick, the girlfriend, and I'm going to even bring it back home.
What about Chad Baker, Missouri? Is he in here?
No, Chad Baker. Well, to an extent,
Okay.
maybe so.
Okay.
I don't hear this. This is all about building individual brands.
Oh.
It's not about the team. We have lost that aspect in sports. Hey, we're sitting here in our own backyard right now talking about whether or not we ought to sue a kid, whether or not we ought to do this, whether or not we ought to do that. How's any of this benefiting the Razorbacks? I know people get revenge and they feel better about themselves when they get it, but how's this benefiting the Razorbacks? How is this 24-year-old Jordan, whatever her name is, how is this helping North Carolina football? They hired the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League, and they got a 24-year-old girl seeking fortune and fame who's about to screw the whole thing up.
Or save it.
No, she's not. She's not going to save it.
Jordan Hudson.
She is not going to save it. Bill Belichick going on 60 Minutes in a Navy shirt with a hole like a rat, like he's left it on the floor and a mouse is eating a hole out
It
of
looked
it.
like somebody put a steak knife through
Yeah, I
it.
mean, it was
An intentional
ridiculous.
steak knife.
Might have been her.
It's all about building
And it said Navy
individual
on it.
brands. It's all about being the hero. It's about me. Nobody talks about the team anymore. That's the common thread in all this. It's why Shador fell to a 5th-round pick. It's why North Carolina football is going to go 5-7 at best next year. It's why Arkansas better think real long and hard about whether or not they want to start suing players over $100,000. It's all about individuals right now, and nobody talks about the team. And I just got to tell you, I've noticed that. If we were unclear on that, I've noticed it.
Well, it's not necessarily a new thing, but we have gone to away from how important the team aspect was. Organization first, name on the front of the jersey, not the back. We've taken a step away from that, and just by the very nature of NIL and the transfer portal.
Nobody talks about the team anymore, and that's what's ruined the whole it's not ruined the whole thing.
Well, it's
But we've been irritated the last couple of
Get
days,
off
and so
my-
I'm just
get off
going to
my
tell you,
lawn.
I've got grievances right
get
now.
off my lawn. Who's that? It's Jordan Hudson. Get off my lawn.
Well, right. I'm just saying that.
Can we get her on the
I'll
show?
stop yelling and screaming.
Can we get her
I
on the
just
show?
think team's important. I don't know. Can you pull it off?
Is she like
Bart, you think you can get it?
See if we
think
get-
you can get that done.
Oh, I don't think so.
I would love to. I'd love to have her on the show.
Well, Edward can sell her on our social media presence because that seems to be
It's
the
a
big
short
thing
list
right
of people we'd rather have on the show. Kind of want to see what's going on there. I mean, don't you? Or would you rather have Bill? But I'm afraid if we have Bill, we're actually going to be talking to her and not get Bill. So we might as well just go
She'd
right
stop
to the
the
source.
interview.
We need to go right to the
stop
source.
the interview.
We're not talking about this.
She needs to be like the press secretary for Belichick. Like, she needs to hold the press conferences. Like, speak on behalf of the president. It's the Chuck and Bo Show. We're just kind of wading through it, figuring it out with you this morning. 6:18.
You can tell I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal Price Check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Why don't you just kind of style it up a little bit at the game? Let's get your drip going.
Hey, I got a lot more drip than you think.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I need you to continue to carry the show. But
Well, I mean, it was fun. We missed you.
oh, I heard you.
We missed you.
Every time I hear you without me, I think, why am I there?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
622.
He's Chuck Barrett.
He's Bo Mattingly. Bart and Edward are here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Wow, what a
That
great,
was- that
what
was
a great time to
adorable.
be alive.
That was adorable.
Yeah, that's the sort of quality radio you don't get on
We got to
every
become
show.
more of a morning show.
Yeah.
You know, just
Hey!
like, hey, he's
Go
Chuck
to
Barrett.
broadcasting school.
For Chuck Barrett, I'm Bo Mattingly. Good morning. Hey, kids, how about a bagel?
You
Bagel
know,
sounds great.
yesterday.
Bart.
Yeah.
Can I have one? Got any Pop-Tarts, Dad? By the way,
I don't
okay,
sound like that.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
derail us for
Go
a
ahead.
second
Go
while,
ahead. Go ahead.
while I'm thinking about it.
All right.
So I was in the lovely metropolis of Mountain Home over the weekend. Big Creek Country Club. My friend Clay Maxey. A lot of great people. A lot of great friends. There was a golf tournament. Had some business to attend to over there. Sunday evening, I get invited to eat dinner with the great Clay Henry and his wife, Jean Ann. It was a lovely moment. We went to Salsa's in Mountain Home. Fine Mexican establishment. They go there often, like once a week. Like it's their go-to, Jean Ann and Clay. I'm invited to date night. I go in.
Third wheel.
Their waiter, who waits on them all the time, says, Clay's in the restroom, I didn't know you had a son. I knew you had 2 daughters. I didn't know you had a son.
Yeah.
So when Clay came back, I said, hey, Dad, welcome back. It's good to be here with my... So Clay is now my father.
Wow. That's big.
I'm going to start calling
I've always
Clay Daddy.
wondered in your private moments
Yeah.
if you would just go ahead and call him Dad or Daddy.
So today, later when he's on the show, hey, Dad.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a
my
good
dad,
story.
My second dad, Clay Henry.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
So
Clay's
this-
going to join us.
It
at
was a
7:30.
totally organic thing.
Yeah.
And you can't change fate. You know, just obviously it was meant to be. And so one margarita later, Clay was my dad.
Yeah. Did you ask him for some money? Hey,
He did pay for dinner.
Hey, can
and
I
that
borrow the
just
car
to kinda
keys?
seal the deal.
Dad, I'd like to go out and run around after a while. Can
Yeah.
I borrow the car keys?
Yeah.
You mind if I take your
Yeah.
truck?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Can
Well,
I
that's
take
good.
Can I take the side by side out for a ride?
Yeah.
Please. Can I borrow your fly rod?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a whole different deal right there.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure real blood would get you the fly rod.
Anyhow.
Unless it's a spare.
Anyhow, that was just Bart asking for Pop-Tarts made me think of that.
Paul.
You know,
Someone said to you, texter said you referred to him as Paul.
Paw.
Paul.
Paw.
Yeah.
It was also solidified at some point along the way over the weekend that Bobo should be my granddad name.
Yeah, well, I thought we established that a
Well,
long time
It's a
ago.
layup.
I've
It's a
been
layup.
on the fence. Everybody seems to be overwhelmingly in favor of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's a shot at me. I don't know if this is,
No.
like Chuck was talking about, we can't tell if this is a team thing or it's an individual thing or somebody's
I
being made fun
personally,
of.
just for the record, I think Papaw is the way to go there.
Well, that's my dad. My dad's Papaw.
Well, okay.
Meemaw and Papaw.
So there's a family tradition there.
So
you
I-
hand it down. It's a
Yeah.
family name.
You think I ought to be-
Papaw.
Well, I'm already Dwight Jr. I don't know if I
Yeah.
need to be Papaw Jr.
Papaw,
Like, we got
too.
enough juniors going on.
You know.
And I already strayed away from my given name. Went with Bo. And so now I might as well just double down on that and 2X it, Bobo.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me call Jordan Hudson and see what she has to say.
Yeah. She's.
What do you think? What if Jordan Hudson were here and I were Bill Belichick right now? Do you think she would be stepping? We're not going to talk about this.
Oh, there's no question about that.
You guys are not deciding what Bo's granddad name's going to be. You guys.
She'd be standing over to the side.
Giving
cut,
the
cut,
side.
cut. You know, giving you the dirty look and all that. That is, in all seriousness, this is not what North Carolina bargained for.
TMZ reportedly said this. TMZ Sports. This is some hard-hitting investigative,
Well,
like
what
behind
you'd
the
expect
scenes
from TMZ.
From TMZ journalism. UNC personnel is worried that Jordan Hudson's influence could be a problem.
Yeah, they are worried. That's a breaking. That's
You don't
I would have
say.
never guessed.
If you're Bubba Cunningham, do you wish you had not made this hire? Or okay, real quick, is Bill Belichick going to a bowl game anytime at North
No.
Carolina?
No.
At any time?
No.
How long does he stay? I'm giving it 2 years.
Look, they're either going to win the national title or they might not win a game. Like,
What do you mean? Like, why would they win the national title?
I don't think they will. I just think those are the way things are going to go. Either it's going to be like incredible and like go really, really well, or it's going to go as poorly as humanly possible.
Can this guy not coach?
Here's the difference, in my opinion. In the NFL, what's going on right now, you can make that work because you're dealing with, I realize they're not fully grown-ups, but guys that have their own lives, guys that have their own situations like Belichick finds himself in. People that,
You're not mentoring a lot of players.
No. Well, you're not herding cats. And when you're trying to keep up with a college football team, 105 guys, 120 guys, however many you got, this stuff at the collegiate level doesn't work. At the pro level, it's a distraction, but they have distractions every day. I mean, you got 4 or 5 prima donnas in every locker room in the NFL. You got entourages all over the place in the NFL. So this kind of stuff there, you can live with it. But at the collegiate level, I'm just not. I don't see how this is going to work.
So Bart, in the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room,
what are your
has
thoughts?
a no. You've got a no-win clause. You got a no-win franchise tag on North Carolina. This is not a win.
I just don't see how this is going to work out well for them. Like it's really hard. Like coaching college football is just so different than coaching in the NFL. It's so different. And that's why you don't see a lot of guys going from college football to the NFL and having a bunch of success.
It's perception reality with Belichick. Has Belichick just sort of, as Chuck suggests, lost his mind? Like, do we know, is this the same Belichick that was winning Super Bowls? Or is this guy, like, just somewhere else? And just sort of coasting and like,
look, hey, here's what we know. Here's one thing that we know.
He's got rainbows and unicorn
beyond the shadow of a doubt,
kind of like floating around.
Is that if Bill Belichick does not have an elite quarterback, his teams don't win.
Well, and there's a lot of teams that don't win without a good
There's
quarterback.
going to be so much. It's the off the field stuff. It's the off the field stuff that's going to bring that whole ship down. It just can't work. And I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. People can call and text and say, "Remember that time you said? Remember that time you said it won't work?" Yeah, I remember.
Aren't you happy for them? It's the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room.
I'm sorry.
It's the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room. That was Bart with his update. Paul Feinbaum had some comments on Arkansas's stance with Madden leaving. Do we agree with him? How much of this do you agree with? And speaking of perception, okay, we've got some perception things that we're dealing with here in Arkansas right now. We'll get into that next. Chevy of Fayetteville, where the Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, that tough 2500 Sierra, all 1.9 APR right now. Take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in at Chevy of Fayetteville. It's inside the Fayetteville Auto Park, just off I-49. Chevy of Fayetteville, let's drive. Back in a minute at 6:31. Good morning. I got to be honest, and I may offend some people here, and I don't, it's fine.
You've done it before.
Well, probably a few minutes ago.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier.
If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies.
Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today. By correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus.
Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better.
Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, PRECIDENT. We'd love to help.
Today's been it's been a strange day.
Yeah, we've had some struggles here and there. Let's just be blunt. Can we be blunt?
Well, it's 50-50 at best.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, I go a little bit deeper than most people. I mean, I wanted to know.
There is depth is a word that comes to mind to describe you.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
All right, Clay Henry at 7:30. We're going to talk softball at 8:30. Robin Herron is going to join us.
Now, Bart, explain for those who may not know who, when Chuck says Robin Herron, who are we talking about?
Junior pitcher for the Razorbacks, ranked as one of the top 10 pitchers in the country by Softball America for the
She's a star.
number 2 Razorback softball team.
Star. One of their best players. Maybe they're and you would expect that from Bart. You know, that he would, if we're going to get a player, you got to have a good one.
This is a top 10 team, a top 2 team on in one poll.
That's right.
In the country. Number 2 in the country, Arkansas women's softball.
Yeah, there's one poll that's that nobody should care about that still has Arkansas ranked like 9th or something like that, and every other poll has.
We don't
them.
care about that.
Well, it's a coach's poll, and
Yeah,
you shouldn't care about coaches' polls in general because in most cases, at least in my experience, coaches aren't actually even voting themselves in the polls. But the softball coaches poll has one representative from each conference. 31 conferences has one representative from each conference. Those people aren't watching every single all these other teams outside their own conference. It's a bad setup. It's a bad poll.
Little tip for sports fans.
There we go.
Little tip for sports fans.
Don't ever pay attention to coaches'
Don't pay
polls.
attention to the coaches.
Don't pay
in
attention.
any sport. Don't pay
but
attention.
particularly
to the coaches' poll.
softball.
Particularly
It's
softball.
just it's set up poorly.
All right. Well,
There you
now
go.
we know.
Now-
Now we all know.
When you're
Thank
kinda,
you, Bart.
Getting yourself
When you
together
come,
in the
when you
morning.
come to the
and-
situation
That's
room,
right.
the
You get
Chevy
the
Fayetteville
whole
situation.
situation.
That's
I'm
right.
going to
Full
lay it out
picture.
for you.
Thank you.
Did you guys hear this cut from Feinbaum? I guess it was a couple of days ago.
A little bit. A little bit.
He was talking about, and we've, when Madden, Iamaleava, decided to leave, we all started, talking about, well, what about the money? And Hunter Yurachek came out with a statement saying that, he's okay with the Arkansas Edge going after this money. Now, you explained this before anybody else.
Yeah.
And essentially, he's going to owe Arkansas a couple of $100,000.
Yeah, 50% of what's left on his deal.
50% of what's left on his deal.
The buyout.
The reports are it's a $500,000 deal. He's gotten $100,000. There's $400,000 left to be paid.
So his
he
buyout
wants out. His buyout's
Would
$200,000.
be $200,000.
All right, and there are reports now that Tom Mars. He is going to
great Tom
represent
Mars.
the great. Yeah, I mean he's as good as there
Legendary
is.
Tom Mars.
He's going to represent Arkansas in their pursuit of this money. Now he also represented Nico, I guess originally in his talks with Tennessee. I don't know exactly all of that, but this is the setup. This is Feinbaum's cut, and I want to talk about it on the backside.
All right, let's listen.
I know a lot of people say, well, they're doing the right thing, and we all understand that. But I think the problem for universities, when you try to go to court, when you try to start suing players that you recruited and offered, you run a big risk of getting a very bad reputation. I would let it go. Arkansas can live without the money. You just make it too draconian. And I know he had an agreement, and I know he made money, and that's fair. But ultimately, this goes on every day, everywhere. And do you want to be the school that young players are afraid of going in case a mistake is made? I think it's a bad look for Arkansas. And they have enough problems in football right now without bringing in a bunch of guns like Tom Mars to make it worse.
Does he have a point?
Yeah, he has a point, and there's another point to be made. There's multiple points here, and I'm not sure any of them are right or wrong. But here's what immediately happened when Madden Iamaleava decided to enter the transfer portal. Immediately, what I heard and what you heard and what the texters were saying and calls to the show. Hunter Yurachek's in over his head. Why don't we have contracts? Why don't we have agreements? Why doesn't Arkansas have a contract that doesn't allow these things to happen? Well, it turns out they do. But if you don't ever enforce the contract, they don't mean anything. Now, another question is, does the contract mean anything to begin with? There are all kinds of agreements in this world that don't mean anything. I mean, that's why you go to court and you find out sometimes. And also, there's this thing called precedent. We're living in a new time with college athletics. So these kind of moments, every time you go to a ruling of a judge, what does the judge do? They cite some other ruling, or the attorney cites some other ruling, and there's a precedent. That's where it starts, a precedent. So we don't have a precedent for this yet. So there's going to be potentially a precedent set if this goes to court and they don't settle out of court that sets the standard for what happens moving forward, meaning we're going to find out these contracts don't mean anything, or they do. Now the question becomes, is that where you want to be a pioneer? Is that where you want to be, front and center? And what Feinbaum's saying is that's not where you want to be.
Where's the win for the Razorbacks?
Oh.
That's what I keep coming back to on this. And
from a perception standpoint.
Well, just hang on a minute. Where is the win for the Razorbacks? I understand precedent. What's more important, setting a legal precedent? What's more important to us? That they set a legal precedent, or that Arkansas wins football games? The answer is different for different people.
No, it's that they win football games.
It's
always that.
But conceivably it could be a different answer for different people. My only concern in this, now look, when I heard that he was leaving and all this, I'm thought, oh, you got to be kidding me, man. There's got to be something they can do. I thought the very same thing. When Hunter sent out that statement, I'm how can you disagree with that? Mm-hmm. As we said on this show, as I said on this show, I think you were gone that day. For most people, this is just a basic question of right and wrong. It's not about legal precedent. It's not about any of these, things that we've attached to it. It's simply about right and wrong. So I get all that. But I also get his point. And I wonder what the national perception is going to be. And you can say, I don't care what the national perception is, but guys, we recruit a lot of players. Arkansas recruits a lot of players from places outside Arkansas. And the idea that you're going to be competitive nationally with a bunch of kids that grew up always wanting to be Razorbacks, I'm not sure we're in that. In fact, I know we're not in that era anymore. I think there is a point to be made. The one thing that's not ever, I say not ever, I mean, we're like 2 weeks into this. The one thing I've not been able to square in my mind yet is, hey, Tom Mars is as good as there is. I mean, he's Tom Brady. He generally deals in cases that are involving a lot more money than $200,000.
Yeah.
Arkansas spends $200,000. Athletic departments, any athletic department, the Power 4 or 5, whatever you call it now, they drop $200,000 on a daily basis over nothing.
This isn't a class action.
Yeah. But we're going to go to the mat, or they're going to go to the mat. We're going to watch them go to the mat. I just wonder, where is the win for the Razorbacks? Not for the people involved, not individual wins. Where is the win for the Razorbacks? Because I don't know that simply recouping this $200,000 is a big W.
It's a great question. We got to hit a break. Let's talk about it when we come back. And I know Bart's got something to say about it, as we probably all do. We're brought to you in part by First Security Bank, the official bank of the Chuck and Bo Show, fsbank.com. You can check them out online. You'll find First Security Bank locations all over our great state of Arkansas. More convenient locations, great folks, friendly professionals to help you bank better. First Security Bank, member FDIC. You guys are part of my family. Everyone that listens to this show is just part of the Chuck and Bo family. We're building a community here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
With Oaklawn Sports, the action never stops and the season is never over. It's now easier than ever to wager on your favorite sports all year long. Go from football to basketball to baseball to golf. Bet on what you want, when you want, with the brand you trust. Oaklawn Sports even offers ways to bet on cricket, rugby, table tennis, and more. If it's a sport, chances are you can wager on it. Plus, it's now simpler to deposit and withdraw money from your account. Bet all year long with Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yuengling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yuengling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yuengling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
How was Saturday night for you after the game? What'd you do to celebrate?
The only few I thought maybe get a few cold beers in there, maybe help it out a little bit.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
You ask Chuck anything, Chuck gives you anything.
Well, and it's not always right, but it's I say it with conviction.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
So we're reacting to Paul Feinbaum's comment that maybe Arkansas would be better served not to be on the forefront, not to be the tip of the spear in changing how these agreements are viewed in college athletics, not being the tip of the spear in going to court and setting the precedent. Maybe it's not the best look for the Razorbacks. That's been a common theme since the conversation began. On the other side of it, people have talked about, like, if you don't have any teeth to these agreements, then I'm foolish for giving my money to NIL causes. So there's this, it's like fiscal responsibility on one hand that people complain about, or how can we not hold these guys to agreements? Then there's this perception of it doesn't make Arkansas look good. And if that's true, then how does that help Arkansas win football games, which is the ultimate goal? Bart, you had something you wanted to weigh in on.
Yeah, I think Arkansas has to be at the tip of the spear. I don't think there's any other choice.
Why? Is it for Arkansas or is it for college athletics?
No, well, both. But here's what I mean. Chuck asked the question, where's the win for the Razorbacks and all this? The win is in making contracts the norm, right? The win is that these contracts are enforceable. The win is that they become part of the NCAA process, that players sign deals with schools like they do in professional sports, be it a 1-year deal or a 4-year deal with team option, player option, whatever. That's the win. And the reason is because Arkansas football has always been a developmental program. A program that thrives when they have kids in the system for multiple years, when guys can get better and improve over time. Arkansas has not ever been one of those programs that's gone out and signed top 10 recruiting class after top 10 recruiting class and loaded up on talent. They've signed some 4-star guys, maybe a 5-star guy here and there, a lot of 3-star guys that need development, need time in the program with the strength coach, with the position coaches, the coordinators, the head coach. That's when Arkansas has been at its best. And in today's era, you can't do that. You do not have that because kids are leaving at will whenever they want without any repercussion just because they're unhappy or they're not playing right now or somebody else is paying them more money. Arkansas can't win in that environment, I don't think. I think it's nearly impossible for Arkansas to compete at the highest levels like we've seen them do in the past in that environment. So, they need these contracts to be enforceable. They need the contracts to become the norm.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't understand all the desire to hold somebody's feet to the fire. How we think that's going to help us become a better football program. By God, we're going to hold these kids' feet to the fire. Nobody else is, but we are.
Well,
now, really?
No,
are you
everybody
really?
Would have.
Our state legislature just passed a deal where they don't have to pay income tax. And I know people are angry about that. But this idea, we're just going to hold their feet to the fire, I don't know that that's a winning strategy.
Interesting discussion. It's almost 7 o'clock. Good morning. Chuck and Bo Show.
Ty Story, high school football coach and former college quarterback.
I love coaching, but it's a lot more fun after LASIK. Now when I'm coaching, I can focus on my players and not my eyes. After LASIK, my eyes are even better than before when I had glasses or wore contacts. The McDonald Eye Team was great. They put me at ease. I couldn't believe how well I was seeing the day after surgery. Good vision and good football go together. I'm really glad I trusted my eyes to McDonald Eye Associates.
See your best with safe and affordable LASIK from McDonald Eye Associates. Register for your free consultation at mcdonaldeye.com.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know what on time is for you, but yeah, you got here before the show started.
Whatever. Hey, have you ever seen anyone that takes so much pride in being the first one here?
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
You are all about adversity and creating it for others so that they can grow.
That's right.
In their character.
Well, that's right.
It's a moment of.
How are you going to overcome adversity if I don't create some for you?
It's time for me to inject some adversity into your life so you can be better.
I'm going to put you in a bad spot, and you're going to be a better person for it.
Then you can be more like me, because I've been going through adversity my whole life. So I'm going to put you through some.
That's right.
And then you're going to be better, like I am.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this much.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's turn on the Chuck and Bo Show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
We're going to start enforcing some of these unenforced rules around here. Generally, we don't talk about subject matter during the break because we end up leaving our best stuff on the cutting room floor. We've spent the last 5 or 6 minutes talking about Feinbaum and this cut and all this stuff, and now we got to recreate the magic.
We've been violating this principle from day one.
Yeah.
We said we weren't going to do it.
I know.
We do it every day.
One of our
every
rules,
day.
one of the rules we set down when we started this show was we're not going to leave our best shots on the driving range.
Yeah.
That's something Bo and I can both relate to.
Jeez.
I'm one of these guys. I hit one good drive on the driving range, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Scratch golfer.
I don't want to waste it.
You're a scratch on the
Well,
range.
I'm not. But my point is over the last 5 minutes, we have I'm not saying we've solved a thing, but we're going to get back. Look, we're all clinging to the hope that there's one person out there or somebody, anybody, it's going to fix this.
Right.
It's going to make it go back to the way it used to be.
Right. And
We're
the
clinging to
ideas.
this, that there's some court case, there's a lawyer, there's an AD, there's
Mars.
somebody that's going to fix this for us.
Tom Mars is going to fix it all.
It hadn't been fixed yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be.
You know, what I heard during the break, if I could just recap.
Please do.
Is we went to break and Chuck took his headphones off and Bart was basking in the glow of a wonderful point made and Chuck took his headphones off and he looked at Bart and he said, "Well, that was really cute." The innocence and the hope that this is all going to be fixed because Arkansas is going to stand on that hill and they're going to take the bullets and all of college athletics is going to change because Arkansas held somebody to a contract. And the idea that somebody's not going to be whispering in some recruit's ear like, "You don't want to go over there because they'll hold you to your contract." We won't do that here. We won't. Like if you end up wanting to leave and get out of your deal, it might say on there that you owe us a couple $100,000. We're not going to hold you to that, Jimmy. Come over here and play for us.
Can we play that cut again?
From Feinbaum?
Yeah, for those who are just hopping on. This is what we're talking about.
I know a lot of people say, well, they're doing the right thing, and we all understand that. But I think the problem for universities, when you try to go to court, when you try to start suing players that you recruited and offered, you run a big risk of getting a very bad reputation. I would let it go. Arkansas can live without the money. You just make it too draconian. And I know he had an agreement, and I know he made money, and that's fair. But ultimately, this goes on every day, everywhere. And do you want to be the school that young players are afraid of going in case a mistake is made? I think it's a bad look for Arkansas. And they have enough problems in football right now without bringing in a bunch of guns like Tom Mars to make it worse.
There you go. That's Feinbaum's take. And the other side of it, and we've talked about it, is like standing up for your agreements. Like, do the agreements mean anything or do they not? And is anyone standing up for it and it going to court and a judge ruling in the favor of the school saying these agreements do hold water and they are enforceable? Is that a win for college athletics? And even if it is a win for college athletics, is it a win or a loss for the University of Arkansas?
I care about wins for the Razorbacks. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't love to see college football fixed. You know, whatever my definition of fixed is. We've all got our own definition of what that is. I'd love to see it fixed to my liking, you know, where everything's exactly like I want it to be. But that's not realistic. And it's different now. It's changed now. And I want to see this turn out well for the Razorbacks, not for individuals, not for college athletics, not even for the greater good. I'm selfish on this one, and I'll admit that, because this is a minefield. This is a minefield. And just because it's a simple case of right and wrong to most of us doesn't mean it's going to be presented or perceived that way. This is a situation where, in my opinion, boy, your strategy better be really, really, really sound. Not just about winning the case, but about coming out smelling like a rose on the other side. You can win the battle and lose the war. Happens every day. And I'm concerned about that. I'm not going to lie. That to me is the fine line that you have to walk here.
Well, the other thing is we're not talking about a star.
And we're not talking about a lot of money. By comparison.
We needed Tennessee. Tennessee needs to do this. They lost their star. We need Tennessee to do this.
Where's Tennessee in all this?
But here's my thing.
You know where they are? Their old lawyers now representing Arkansas.
Right.
That's what's going on. Or Nico's
Spire
lawyer.
Sports was the rep for Nico, and Tom Marsh once represented him when the NCAA said they couldn't do the deal with Tennessee that Nico ended up getting. So he helped them get the deal at Tennessee. Listen, here's my problem, and then we'll go to the phones. My problem, the biggest problem I have, is you're putting schools, individual schools, in a terrible position because we don't have a system that is governed by college athletics. And so, therefore, it's up to individual states, it's up to individual schools. When you have that, you have to tell your fans, your constituents, that you're being fiscally responsible with their money. And so you have to give this idea an appearance that you're going to hold people to contracts because your Bart is giving me the money to pay them. So that's one side of it. Well, the other side of it, as soon as I do that, I've put myself at potentially a recruiting disadvantage. I've put myself in a position to be recruited against.
You put yourself out there for better or worse.
In a world where, because it's so unregulated, and by the way, will continue to be, college athletics is the biggest cheating sport in all of sports. And that includes the Tour de France. Okay, this is the biggest, like let's just call it, with the underbelly of college athletics is full of the biggest cheating scandals of all time in any sport, anywhere, anytime, FIFA included. I mean, think about it.
That's a mouthful.
Well, think about it.
No, you're right.
There's all it takes is what is like because you can't regulate it. You have no teeth. You have no way to really we just did, there was this whole HBO documentary on Will Wade on a wiretap, Sean Miller on a wiretap, about illegally paying players. And you know what happened 2 years later? We made it legal to pay players.
Bunch of assistant coaches went to jail.
Right, like financial advisor guys went to jail. Sean Miller now has the best job he's ever had in his life. After, is the guy going to go to prison? Will Wade now is just right back to where he was, making the same money or more. College athletics is unregulated. No matter how we try to regulate it. And so it sounds good and it makes sense that it's fiscally responsible to try to hold people to contracts. But these guys that are really good, by the way, if you're a really good recruit, you're not signing some BS contract that's going to put you in a bad spot.
No.
You're going to have good representation, and you're going to have an agent, and you're going to have a good contract. Which, by the way, most of the time, a good agent's going to overmatch an athletic department in the system that we have set up. The system is a mess. That's the problem. So how do you navigate that? That's what every athletic director is trying to figure out. How do I navigate it for my fans so my fans aren't looking at me like we're not doing a good job? But how do I also play the game within the game? And that's where Jordan Hudson comes in for Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's right. Thank God she's there.
David's in Cersei. I needed to bring it back
Yeah.
up. Sorry.
Hey, good morning, David.
David, good morning. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, guys. Bo, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Listen, here's where we are in this football deal. We just got a defensive lineman out of the transfer portal yesterday. He played for Texas Permian Basin, who had games last year against Western New Mexico, Adams State, Midwestern State, Western Oregon. You know where I'm going with this.
Friday Night Lights.
We are relegated to trying to find diamonds in the rough, which this young man may turn out to be. The billionaires up in Northwest Arkansas, they're not pouring any money into our football program to speak of, and we all know who they are. We're trying to get to a bowl game next season and then hope that the players want to participate in it. That's where we're at. And somebody has got to take a stand on this deal, and this young man got his money, even though it wasn't an exorbitant amount, and left without playing a game for us. Somebody's got to put their foot down. I want it to be us. And if that keeps us from getting somebody here and there, I don't think.
Why do you want it to be us? Just tell me that. Like, I'm curious. Like, what makes you?
I believe that if the player gets their money and does not play a game for you, somebody has got to be the first, and I'm proud that it's us. Thanks a lot.
All right.
See, I see everything David said right there. You can almost feel people pumping their fists. There are people out there that agree with that. And I can certainly hear the merits in his argument. I mean, I can. But it also smacks of, I want to teach this guy a lesson. You know, I want to teach people a lesson that you can't just come in here and walk away. Look, this guy's a third-string quarterback. We're talking about $100,000 or $200,000, which is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things is just a drop in the bucket. Is this the hill you want to die on? I mean, because look, you said it a minute ago. In college sports, you can say, I'm going to stand on the hill.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, your body's going to be riddled with bullets, and everybody's going to be walking away.
You're not even going to know.
That's right.
Because all the other ADs are going to be coming up to you going, hey, great job.
Yeah,
thank you for standing up. And at the same time, they're calling that guy and offering him a new deal.
Well, and
while they're telling you, thanks for standing up for all of us.
They're saying, I appreciate all you're doing, and then they're walking away and muttering under their breath, he's toast.
Like it's a no-win situation from this standpoint. Like, again, you're representing a couple of different things, Chuck. As an AD, how do you explain this to the people that are giving you money when they're telling you you're not holding them accountable? And on the other hand, you're trying to navigate how you don't come off looking bad to players. It's like we've put college athletics in this like don't trust anybody.
ADs.
It's just look over here, look over there. Like, I'm telling you one thing, another thing's happening. The transparency's not there. And then all the way down to you don't know who's getting paid what because you don't want anybody else to know. And so then players and agents can lie to everybody about what they're really getting.
I will say ADs have a pretty tough job right now. I mean, Hunter takes it from all sides. He does.
Gosh.
I mean, he's.
I don't want that job.
And
I want no part of that.
I'm always reminded of the phrase, some days they pay me too much and some days they don't pay me enough. He's going through a period right now where I'm sure in his mind he's thinking they don't pay me enough.
Yeah.
But that's. Hey,
we got a full deck of calls.
We do.
We'll get to it when we come back.
All right, let me mention Oaklawn before we go. If you want to watch the Kentucky Derby this weekend, if you can't go to Churchill Downs, man, there's no better place than Oaklawn. They're going to have live racing through this weekend. The Kentucky Derby obviously is going to be coming up on Saturday evening. And new customers at the Oaklawn Sports app. This would be a great time to hop on this week. $1,000 in bonus bets. Once you've deposited your Oaklawn or your money in your Oaklawn Sports account, you're automatically enrolled in this promotion. You're going to receive a second chance on your first bet each of your first 10 days on the Oaklawn Sports app. So log on today. Go watch the Kentucky Derby this weekend.
Back to the phones at 7:17. We'll do it next on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly. And Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal Price Check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweatnum Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com and click on the Sweatnum Edge.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing like a college football Saturday, a few beers, your phone, and Twitter.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
you had comfortable shoes before they started coming out with like On Clouds and Hokas.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here around on our rear ends talking sports. I mean, I shouldn't, it doesn't make any sense to put on like boots, something like that. It doesn't make any sense.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I got my work boots on today. I got my work sliders on today. I got
work
my work
boots.
sliders on.
Yeah, some good work boots
Yeah,
are, just kind of makes you feel like you're doing something meaningful.
Yeah.
James,
Socks on.
James is meaningful, I'm sure. He's in Waldron. James, good morning. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, gentlemen. I think the university went at the wrong angle at this. This could have been handled behind closed doors at a negotiated buyout, just like every other lawsuit does, and not been done in such a public light to give you negative publicity, because you could have played both angles when all this was said and done if they would have, by being able to tell your recruits, yeah, come on, sign, and still been able to tell your donors, yeah, if they don't pay, we have ways to go after them and get our buyout.
Well, that's
back.
that. What now? See,
That's
that
just-
point, James, is what I think Hunter was trying to convey, and I don't know how you do that without making that statement. Because if you'll remember, the moment this story hit, it was like, why don't we have agreements? Why don't we hold these guys accountable? How can people just do this to us? And now, as time has gone on and discussions have occurred, we've got this other side of it, which is also fair to point out. But I think in that moment, that's what he was trying to do, is let fans who have been very critical about the university asking for money, let them know that they're trying to be fiscally responsible with the money that's being given.
That's a fair point. And the other thing is, if you were going to pick a particular family to go after and it be public, I think they made the right choice, because in the court of public opinion.
The court of public
these
opinion is
gentlemen
with
and their
them.
father.
No doubt.
Yeah, they did pick the right,
maybe
the right wave to get on. Thanks for the call,
Pick your
James.
fights.
There's
Yeah, thank you, James.
Some good points. Rod's on I-40. Hey, Rod, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. It's a simple point to me. Bristol, integrity. Are you coming here to actually play for the Razorbacks, or to grab the quick $100,000 so you can get another branch for your monkey to swing to? I mean, do we really want somebody that's going to let us down?
Well, whose
Before
job?
game day, let alone game day?
I'm going to stop here and play devil's advocate for just a second. Maybe you ought not to sign those guys in the first place.
Yeah,
I know it's harder
got no
to get a
intention.
read. I know it's harder to get a read on a kid than ever before, because it's like speed dating now when you get into this portal. But I think some schools maybe need to rethink some of the guys that they're selling their souls to sign. I mean, this is a lot of trouble for a third-string quarterback. That's just my thought.
Yeah. I mean, Rod, thanks for the call. It's challenging to figure out who you're getting. But I don't know how you get beyond that. When you make money a thing, it's a thing. I mean, there aren't a lot of guys that are just like, there's money to be had, I'm not going to take it. So it's a factor for everybody you sign. And it only takes it's the system. I don't know how you beat the system. Because we have a system where it only takes one person to tell you you're worth more money, and then you're going to go take advantage of it. That's the system we've created, and pretending that we're going to have such character that we don't go for that is a little Pollyannish. I mean, it'd be nice, and there are people who, I don't want to pretend that those people aren't out there. They are. There are people who have more of a foundation than I'm just leaving for the money. But it's harder than ever. Yeah. And we've created a system. And by the way, everybody's circumstances are different. I mean, some people don't have any money. I mean, $100,000 is life-changing money.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot more than the average Arkansan makes for 12 months of work. I mean, when
somebody says, I'll give you $200,000 instead of $100,000, I mean, that could change a family's life.
That's right.
But this is the system we created for one person to call you and tell you that, and you leave the other system or the other situation behind. Darren, good morning. You're in Northwest Arkansas and on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, good morning, guys. I love your show.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, Bo said something earlier that kind of perked me up. He said, well, this guy's a third-string quarterback, and it's $200,000. And so I kind of agree with that, but I want to know, is there a threshold? Is it $500,000, $750,000, $1 million? Is there a threshold when we do put our foot down?
So let me ask you this. So I'll just put it back to you. I'm going to give you
That's a good question.
The parameters here. So Madden got $100,000 for the work he put in, which was show up here,
go through spring practice.
Okay, you're here 3 months, whatever it is. Okay, that was the deal. He was going to get most of his money during football season. So you didn't lose that other $400,000. You paid a guy $100,000. Did he give you what he was supposed to give you during that time? That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is you put teeth in a contract to discourage someone from leaving. Okay, so the teeth in this contract is you owe 50% of what's left on your deal. So what we're talking about is enforcing the buyout. So at what point is it worth enforcing the buyout? Because the reason you're enforcing it is to put teeth in it so people realize they can't just leave whenever they want. And everyone around college athletics is like, yeah, this is great. We got to have these things hold up. They got to have teeth in these agreements. Well, A, we don't know if a judge is going to uphold it. B, the same people that are going, that's great, stand up Arkansas, are probably cutting deals behind Arkansas's back and saying that school's going to hold you accountable. We won't do that. And that's the system we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, you got your fans mad at you. You're losing players. Now it's like, oh, if we hold them to it, then like people aren't going to want to go there. I mean, it's just it's chaos.
I totally agree. Well, what if we get a big name guy, and it's $2.5 million, and he takes his $500,000 for spring training and he leaves? Is that still acceptable in your mind?
I don't think any of it's acceptable. I just don't know what you do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's as I look at the big picture. Thank you for your call, Darren. When you think about what we've been talking about the last week or so, you got players walking out on contracts. Coaches have done it for a while, but players kind of new. Got the legislature passing a no-income tax for players. I think fans are, if they've not realized it before, they're like, well, this is insane. I mean, this is insane. Of course you can't walk out on a contract. Of course you can't. I'm under contract. Not only am I under contract, I got to no compete. I mean, if I were to leave, I couldn't even go work for a competitor. These guys can't walk out on contracts. And no income tax? Are you kidding me? I mean, we've lost our minds.
Yeah.
And I think fans are beginning to wake up and realize that, and they're looking for somebody to blame. They want somebody to be mad at, number one, and then they want someone to fix it. And I think when they look at what's going on with Arkansas right now, I think a lot of people are saying, finally, somebody's taking a stand and somebody's going to fix this. I hope that's true. Good luck. I hope it's true.
Certainly something to root for, but I'm not sure, and I'm not sure anybody is sure on what it gets you. I am sure that if you like doing local business with local folks like Chuck and I do, we love doing things with Arkansas businesses, and Splash Car Wash is that. Our new neighbor in Fayetteville. Been serving Arkansans as an Arkansas-owned and operated business since 1989. Get a free car wash today on Splash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. Splash Arkansas to 22322. Get you a free car wash today. When the rain clears up, the weather goes away, you want a shiny ride, take advantage of that. And by the way, if you're going to get a membership, Splash is the way to go. You always are going to get what you paid for when you go through there. Not a halfway job, not my tires didn't come out looking great. You're going to go through that blower, that dryer, and feel awesome when you're driving down the road like Bart does in his new ride. 7:31, good morning. I want to see you and Bart in the old three-legged race.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me just...
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yingling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yingling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yingling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
When is the last time you thought, oh, the SEC's making an announcement today, and it's going to be good for the Hogs?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Well, it was one of the great non-marriage times of my life, I'll tell you that. To meet Chuck Berry, the only thing that's even close to is meeting Bo.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Clay Henry, Whole Hog Sports.
Living legend.
Featured columnist, longtime friend, and my second dad, apparently.
Yeah.
After having a wonderful dinner with Gene Ann.
You know,
and
Clay never bought me
the
dinner.
Weekend.
He never bought me dinner.
I didn't know you had a son. And so here I am, Bo Henry. Henry reporting for duty. Clay, a lot's happened since the last time you were on the show a week ago. I mean, my gosh, what do you make of the potential lawsuit and Tom Mars and no state income tax and the state of the Razorbacks and college athletics?
Crazy.
Have at it.
Well, I just would say that dating back to COVID, it's been a 2-week change. In other words, every 2 weeks something's different. Yeah. And I mean, it's just, it's like, well, if you don't remember COVID, like we thought we knew what was going to happen, and 2 weeks later it changed. There are not going to be any people in the stands. There's going to be people in the stands. We're not going to play a full schedule. We're going to play a full schedule. We're going to play all SEC teams. And I mean, it just has kept on going. I mean, it's been crazy. There is no normal. There is none. There is nothing normal about anything that's happened in the last 7 or 8 years, and I don't expect that to subside. It's just going to keep on coming.
Well, we have a system that is just that, and it makes it really difficult to navigate the system. And I think, Clay, as much as we've tried to regulate things, what we have done in some ways is just opened up more of a Pandora's box on cheating or backroom deals or not holding people to contracts or, hey, yeah, Arkansas, you go hold them to contracts, but we're not we'll applaud you for that, but then we're going to whisper behind your back and tell people, hey, we won't do that if you come
You're
here.
bad dudes. Yeah.
We won't do. So, like, how do you navigate this? I mean, what's a win for the Razorbacks? You want, like, if you're Hunter, your fans want to hear that you're holding guys accountable, though, right? And then on the other hand, it's like, wait a second, does this make us look bad in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, it's all muckety muck, and don't know what is real and what is not. What's going to change? We don't know. And even the judge is like, okay, I like everything you're doing, but this, and get that changed. It's like, okay. It's like, all right, we're going to let everybody that owns scholarship now stay on scholarship, no matter what the numbers are. And by the way, if junior college transfers one another 2 or 3 years, they can have that too.
Yeah, that's true.
Clay, I'm trying to figure out. I've moved on to the what does it all mean stage in this, and what is
you have? Okay.
What does it mean for the Razorbacks? I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, all we want's for them to win. I mean, that's supposedly what we're all moving. That's the goal: is to win games. How does all this stuff going on right now? How does it affect? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I think what you have to focus on, and if you're Sam Pittman and Travis and Bobby, and just keep coaching what you have. Coach up your roster because you don't know when somebody's going to decide I'm not playing anymore this year. And I mean, you just don't know. So just coach up what you have, and make sure you've got enough linemen. that's my one principle that you've got to do in this NIL. Make sure you got linemen. The teams that have linemen, they prosper, and they're out there. And they may not be transferring from Georgia and Alabama, but we've seen that they picked up one from McNeese, didn't they, in the last day or so? So just keep getting linemen. I don't care what division they came from. If you watch the draft, there's some guys that you never heard of that are playing at little schools. So they're out there.
That income tax thing help them in recruiting? Do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't. state income tax is a really small number. I guess if you're making $1 million, it becomes a big number, but
bigger, but not still.
It's not a huge factor, I don't think, and it's not a whole lot of money in the grand scheme of just there being 50 guys that are making a big chunk. What I'm getting at is the state didn't lose a huge amount of tax revenue, but I guess every little bit helps when it comes to recruiting. You can say, if that's being used against you in recruiting, I guess you got to fix it.
Clay Henry with us, WholeHogSports.com. And I want to get into something that Clay's really passionate about, if you guys don't mind. I just, like, Clay for years has been doing.
It kind of does my heart good to see Texas football, Texas basketball, Texas baseball suck.
Well, Clay, here comes number one Texas. And you wrote about this at Whole Hog Sports.
Yeah, and it was number one Texas in football, too. It was. Yeah.
So
they don't suck.
They don't suck anymore.
No. Maybe in basketball they fired their coach. I think they did. Yeah.
Set the scene. They did. And Sean Miller got the job after being on the HBO documentary about paying players, and now we're all paying players. To your point, everything changes every 2 weeks. Set the scene for us this weekend with the Hogs hosting number one Texas, beginning tomorrow night at Baum-Walker Stadium.
Well. So there's a really nice piece that Matt Jones did at Whole Hog Sports this morning that kind of tried to research all the times that Arkansas has played number one in baseball. It's about 100 and something times. Arkansas has won a bunch of those. So, just because Texas is number one, that doesn't change the fact that they are vulnerable. And I love the fact that Arkansas is the hunter now instead of the hunted. They were the hunted, 3 or 4 weeks ago when they were number one, and didn't quite wear that hat that great. But it's time to knock Texas. There's nothing sweeter than beating a number one Texas team, and we've done it in football and we've done it in baseball. And if you want to look at records, the one I really like to look at, and this is unique for Arkansas in so many respects. Dave Van Horn is 18-11 against Texas. Just think about that. There's not very many Arkansas coaches that have winning records against Texas. Houston Nutt might.
Not many coaches, probably.
That's what I'm saying.
Anywhere.
Not many coaches. Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, and I think Dave Van Horn, and some of those were. Victories at Nebraska. He did really well against Texas when he was at Nebraska. I kind of detailed a little bit of that, and but I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere. I suspect it's going to be a low-scoring deal. Texas can really pitch. That's kind of the way Texas was when we first started seeing them in 74, 75, when they started playing Arkansas. Arkansas was an independent and got into the NCAA tournament in 73, and that got them into the Southwest Conference in baseball, made people kind of pay attention. And it took a little while to kind of get things settled out, and, starting in about 79, Arkansas was really, really good for a number of years in baseball. And those Texas games were a lot of fun. But, they were loaded with pitchers. You can go back and look, and they had a bunch of really top-line pitchers. Scott Tabor kind of detailed where they might have the top 5 pitchers in the country. 5 of the top 8 were at Texas one year. Just think about that.
Jeez.
That's the rich getting richer.
Well, hopefully Arkansas can get on track this weekend. Perfectly placed opportunity to do it. Clay, great to spend time with you over the weekend. Thanks for hopping on with us today. We'll do it again next week.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you,
Clay Henry, Whole Hog Sports features. Great columns there. You can go check out Clay's archive. And my now Arkansas dad, Clay Henry. Hey, we all need representation at times. If you're dealing with a personal injury, struggling to get Social Security disability, or drowning in debt, you can call the team that fights for Arkansans. Bill Reynolds and the attorneys at Cadell Reynolds know how to get results when it matters most, from car wrecks to denied disability claims to filing for bankruptcy. They've got your back. Don't face it alone. Call Cadell Reynolds, 866-314-3728, or visit CadellReynolds.com
for a free consultation. Cadell Reynolds, make the call.
Do you think Kim Mulkey could operate a jackhammer?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier.
If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies.
Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today. By correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus.
Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better.
Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, PRECIDENT. We'd love to help.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
Hey, it's Bo Mattingly, and McDonald Eye Associates is my one-stop for any vision need. The progressives they have me in are a game changer, and my new sunglasses are going to be great for baseball season. McDonald Eye was the first practice in the state to perform LASIK, and they have the most experience. They also have the new vision correction options for all ages, including cataract and clear lens replacement to see your best from all distances. For your best vision, McDonald Eye is the place to go.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Yeah, does Chuck sleep that much? Because it just sometimes...
He's old, so when you get old, you don't really sleep as much.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
A lot of times critics don't know what the hell they're talking about, and I don't think they know much what they're talking about on this one either.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Eddie is in Clarksville. Eddie, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call.
Eddie.
You know, I'd like to start off to give a big shout-out to Courtney Deifel and the lady softball Razorbacks. And when you look at what she came here, and she's built a program. And so, much like Coach Van Horn did. But, you know, tomorrow, that bell, I can hear it ringing now. It just means more when you play Texas. I don't care if it's in football, baseball, or basketball. And by the way, we just beat them in basketball. But let me say this to these players. You got the number one team in the country coming into Baum Stadium. And they're coming with the hook 'em horns. I can hear the whooping scoot back at them. I mean, does it get any better?
No.
On the menu. And it's going to be up to you how you want to finish this series. And so I want to touch on one more thing.
Okay.
You know, I've been listening to your show. You know what's going on. I remember something that came to mind this morning. And I walked in. Certainly Eddie from Clarksville's no preacher. But I was raised to go to church. And I remember a sermon once when I was a kid. You know, my mother, she marched me into that church house. She set me down on that pew. She said, you better mind your manners, son. And you better listen to the preacher. And he said, listen, you know what's going on? It just boils down to greed, right? The more you want, the worse it gets. It's part of the seven deadlies, right?
7 deadly
And this
sins.
is what schools across the country are dealing with, not just Arkansas. Biblical Bible, listen to what Biblical Bible says about it's a root of all evil. It's a display of selfish and a destructive force. It simply portrays desire more than it's needed. It leads to, listen what it says, it leads to conflict. It leads to ruin. It's simply a heart that never gets satisfied. And you're seeing that at the University of Arkansas right now. You're seeing it at Tennessee. You're seeing it at Alabama. Every school in the country is dealing with it. And Timothy chapter 6 says, listen to what it says. That the love of money is the worst kind. It's the root of all evil. Let me say, I got a couple of songs.
Well,
to display this.
hang on.
Hang on.
The traveling evangelist continues maybe at the beginning of the 8 o'clock hour. Good morning.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive.
why don't you just kind of style it up a little bit at the game? Let's get your drip going.
Hey, I got a lot more drip than you think.
The Chuck and Bo Show. Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
How often do you go into Facebook and just check the people that have requested to be your friend?
A couple of times an hour. Anytime I need a boost. A lot of people from foreign countries. It's amazing how that happens. We have no common friends.
No mutual friends.
No mutual friends at all.
Yeah.
And they're, for some reason, anxious to connect
you're
with me.
an international superstar,
Sometimes
Chuck.
they send me messages. Now, my bank account's been drained.
Yeah.
But other than that,
That's why
I have a
you're-
lot of internet
So
friends.
now we know why you're doing the show.
Yeah, that's right.
The Chuck and Bo Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's start on the Chuck and Bo show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
The Athletic has a story out about Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Remember Hard Knocks was supposed to be at North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, NFL Hard Knocks was going to do a college series, and it was going to be at North Carolina with Bill Belichick. There are emails indicating Belichick wanted this from his staffers, and North Carolina was set to receive $200,000 in facility fees, for allowing Hard Knocks to come on campus, another $50,000 in reimbursements. But apparently, according to this story, it fell apart shortly before the public announcement that it was going to actually happen because Jordan Hudson, Belichick's girlfriend, played an instrumental role in stopping the production, according to this story, related to her request to be heavily involved in the project, according to multiple industry sources briefed on the negotiations. Of course, the sources spoke, Chuck, on the condition of anonymity.
Yeah, well said.
Anonymity.
Yeah.
Anonymity.
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 Yeah,
Anonymity.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
Madden Iamalewa, anonymity.
Yeah.
Because they weren't authorized to speak on this. But anyhow, the story goes on that, Hudson's running things. And that, so this shut down the Hard Knocks. This is another thing that got shut down right along with the CBS
Jordan
interview.
was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there.
Oh, do I have Jordan?
Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
We're not.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Now, here's my
far,
question.
Just if you're keeping
All right,
score
go
at home, so far she's taken down the CBS interview in Hard Knocks.
Yeah. CBS, HBO, they're no match for a
The
24-year-old.
gold standard for all documentary filmmaking has also been taken down.
Yeah, it's
by Jordan Hudson. Is this fair? Are we being unfair? I don't know. I feel bad.
I feel obligated to say this every time Bill Belichick, the subject comes up. He's lost his mind. Let's just operate. Let's just begin there. He has lost his mind.
For immediate reaction, here's Brent and Cersei. Brent, good morning.
Brent, what do you think about all this?
I've got one thing to say. That old gal's got an awful lot of power for 24 years old.
Yeah, it works. Sometimes it works like that.
If she can bring down CBS, HBO, and all things in between, she's got more power than
Well,
Bill
she's
Belichick.
about to bring down North Carolina football and the winningest coach in the history of the National Football League. So she's still got a couple of more big ones to go bring down.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, she's going for it all, baby. That's all I can say.
She is.
We need to hear her side of the story. I think it's only fair that we get to hear her side of the story. Bart, could you get her on?
Hey,
Bart, can you DM her?
DM her on Instagram.
Can you get in her DMs and see if maybe we can't get her on the show?
We'll make it.
Actually, let's have Chuck do it. He seems more relatable to her.
Who's that young guy? Yeah.
Hey, Bo, you need to do a documentary series on her like you did with that really good one you did with PJ Fleck. That was awesome.
Well,
a couple of years ago, you remember that?
That was
one,
2017.
When
Yeah,
you learned to row the boat.
Yeah,
rowing the boat.
Yeah.
2017. That was fun.
I got one thing to say about the Razorbacks and our stance trying to go get that $200,000. We're going to be the martyr for college football. I don't want to be the punching bag for college football or athletics because y'all just said it on the all the other athletic directors are going to be saying, yeah. Go do it. We're behind you.
And then when we get bloodied and we're taking a standing 8 count and there's blood coming out of our nose, our head, and our eyes,
They run off with your family.
We know nothing. We know nothing about it. And when you get right down to it, Madden, whatever his last name was, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was going to play a minimum of 4 games this year for the Razorbacks, most likely, correct?
Maximum.
So we're looking at 50 maximum 4 games.
Yeah.
And so if I do my math right, I'm not real smart. That's $50,000 a game. Supposedly.
Well, it's at play. But yeah, I mean, to actually suit up. I mean, he'll be suited up, but he wouldn't.
Well, if he played it, he got
he's third-string quarterback.
500,000.
He's at best tied for second string, at more likely third string. Yeah, look, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we know what it is now, and it's like, here's the thing, Brent. Go ahead, finish your thought.
You know where Madden goes down in Razorback lore as a quarterback, along with that great Southern California transfer, Ricky Town. That's exactly where he goes down.
I thought he was going to say Dane
our
Altman.
record book.
I thought he was going to say Dane Altman.
One of Chad Moore's greats.
Yeah. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Well, look, I don't know what else to say about this whole situation other than there's no win in it either way. I don't feel like there's a win either way. I don't feel like I said earlier, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And we have turned this into an individual situation across the board. And you know what we talked about yesterday a little bit? And I think this is an ongoing topic. College fans have never felt more disconnected because of the way the sport is being handled. And it's not just football, I mean, basketball, whatever, but it's maybe worse than football. We have created a system that has made it really difficult for fans to relate to. There's a reason why you watch what you watch. There's a reason why you pick whether you watch professional sports or college sports, or maybe you watch both. And when you watch both, you view one through one lens and the other through another. And now it's like so hard to feel connected. And like you're part of it, and it's your team, and it's just we got a text, where's Greg Sankey?
Well, I do kind of wonder about that.
Where are these commissioners?
I got to say this. My one take over the past week is, now more than ever, I hate me people. I don't like me people. I have no use for them in life, in anything. What about me? I don't like those kind of people. Jordan Hudson, she made that decision on HBO Hard Knocks. Didn't have anything to do with North Carolina football. Had to do with her and Bill. Didn't have anything to do with the success of that program. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of this Madden Iamaleava thing, and I'm not going to pretend to. But I want to make sure when the dust settles, the Razorbacks are the big winner in this. I don't care if there's a legal precedent set. I don't care if a lawyer's a big winner. I don't care if an athletic director's a big winner. I don't care if the guy sitting in Little Rock right now who wants to get back at Madden Iamaleava, I don't care if he feels good when it's over with. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of it. I care about the Razorbacks doing well. And I care about our program, and I care about whether or not we win games. What I see right now, nationally, locally, everywhere, is too many people making it about them. And what's the end result going to be when this is over? Have we made our organization better, or have I made myself better? They're not always the same things. And that's kind of my...
How do you get a win-win?
I don't know. How
do you get a win-win
I'm not
there?
sitting here saying I got the answers. I don't. I just got all the complaints like everybody else.
Honestly, that's how the whole thing started, how we got here 4 years ago, that where this train started going down the track. Nobody had the right answer, and we just did it anyhow. And it's been this ever since. And now we've got some sort of regulation. We'll see if that's going to actually course correct or change. I don't think it's really going to change much. 877-377-6963. We're just it's a payday. That's where we are.
There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday, someday. There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday.
When we create the payday and get what you can get, that's what you were just describing. That's the system we created, and so now that's why the way that we're all behaving in the sport. Makes you want to have a Flight by Yuengling and just think about it a little bit.
Slam it.
Yeah. It's a Flight by Yuengling, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs, 4.2% ABV. The new resealable twist-off aluminum bottles, great to take with you. On the lake, for example, you get out on the boat or you're out with some friends or you're, tailgating. Flight by Yuengling is the next generation of light beer. It's for the go-getters. There's a new go-to. 12 ounces of premium refreshment from America's oldest brewery. Tastes like a Yuengling, but it's a light beer. Flight by Yuengling. Raise a Flight by Yuengling. It's the next generation of light beer. When you went into the Hall of Fame, I think it was at a Western Sizzler.
I think it was. It was at a motel. It wasn't a hotel. It was a motel.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
I want Texas to lose. Yeah, I want them to rot in hell.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Great point, Bo.
Thank you.
I'm Chuck. It's the Chuck and Bo Show. I'm going to start taking credit. Like when you make a great point, I'm going to call myself
All
Chuck.
right, fair enough.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Wow, we got a college sports is dead texter.
I saw that. College sports is dead.
I don't think that's
dead,
true.
I tell you.
It's definitely not true. It's very popular.
You know, it's so funny. I mean, we gripe about it all the time. It's going to hell in a handbasket. But, yeah, when the games roll around, we're watching them in greater numbers than ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I hate politicians. Well, what about your guy? Oh, I like him.
Yeah,
you know, it's I mean, we can't really figure out where we stand sometimes.
Well, the process is maddening. Some of what's happening is maddening. It's great conversation, I guess. By the way, a couple things that we've touched on a little bit, but maybe haven't gotten into as much. Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
A couple
We've
things.
not gotten into that this
A couple of things about Shedeur Sanders and what happened in the draft. Apparently, he went into a couple. First of all, there weren't that many teams that were going to take Shedeur Sanders or a quarterback in general. I mean, you don't have the entire NFL to choose from. You got a handful of teams that are in the
Not
market
everybody's
for a
drafting a quarterback, right?
And some of the teams that were interested in him, I guess he really just turned them off in the process. The word entitlement and not taking any sort of feedback and criticism well in a meeting were things that Colin Cowherd has cited as talking to front office people and what happened in some of these meetings with Shedeur Sanders. Like they would put together, you know, sometimes I guess NFL teams will put together plays that didn't go so well for you and have you explain in the meeting what happened. And apparently Shedeur did not take well to that, and at one point told one team, I'm you know what, I'm probably not your guy. Like just sort of fight or flight. I'm probably not your guy. And then another one, you know, they'll give you like installs, like the offense to study, like a little bit of a playbook. And then they'll get in the meeting and they'll give you something that's wrong. And you got to like figure out what it is. And apparently that didn't go well. And I get it. I mean, I've talked to guys in this draft process, like going to the combine and all that, where it's just like you feel like a test baby or whatever. You know, you're like, I'm a football player. I mean, what, like quit, like put on my tape, watch me play football. Do you like me or not? But the NFL is investing a lot of money in some of these guys. And so they're going to go through some of these, and maybe it's ridiculous, maybe it's not, but that's the process. And it's like it was beneath Shedeur Sanders. And the last thing was, if you remember way back, Deion Sanders basically said, you know, that we'll be handling this with the teams we want to handle it with. And that didn't go over real well. And I don't know that he ever came back around and said, look, I mean, he's a prospect. We're happy to be wherever he gets drafted. Shedeur will be happy to be and look forward to proving himself on the field. But now that this is all over and that he has been drafted, what do we think is going to happen with this guy? Do we think he goes on to have a decent career?
I think he'll outperform most fifth-round picks. That's my hunch.
Say that. Wow. Fifth round.
Yeah, I know.
Fifth round.
I think he'll outperform most fifth-round picks. Now, I realize that's not, you know, that's a long way from saying I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Here's the thing, though, and when I've looked at this, and I was as surprised as anybody else, not because I'm a draft analyst, but because everybody had said he was going to be taken early. I just assumed they knew what they were talking about.
Mel Kiper among them.
Yeah.
The great Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper. Here's the one thing I do know about pro football, though. If you can play, if they really think you can play, they'll overlook almost anything. I mean, look at the players out there and some of the just horrendous things guys have done. And they're forgiven. I mean, just on a smaller scale in football. I mean, a guy takes steroids in baseball, he's banned for life. Guy takes steroids in football, we'll see you in a month. I mean, that's how it works. So, in other words, the NFL they'll let you do what you want if you can play. They obviously made a determination that there were better players at that position than him. I don't think this is a grand conspiracy, the way a lot of people have made it out to be. Here's the thing, if I was a coach or a general manager, that would be at the front of my mind. I go back to kind of my theme today. It's about the team. It's not a question of can Shedeur handle it. It's not a question of can I handle Shedeur. It's not a question of is Deion going to be here every day. because the answer to that's yes. The question is, how does it affect the guys that are actually going to play? Because Shedeur's not going to play. The guys that are going to determine the worth of the season, if I'm a head coach, Shedeur's not going to get me fired. Shedeur's not going to keep my job for me. The guys that are playing this year are the ones that are going to control my fate. If you don't feel like somebody you're bringing onto your team is going to fit in that locker room, and if the circus is coming with Shedeur, which it is, you've got to ask yourself, how is it going to affect the guys who are actually playing? The guys who are actually doing things on the field. If the owner or the coach or the general manager thinks that everybody can handle it, well, that's one thing. But I doubt there's a locker room on the face of the earth that wouldn't be affected by that to a certain degree. And so I think that's the question they have to ask themselves. Is it worth the trouble? Is it worth the trouble? And obviously the answer was no for a lot of people.
What to watch? Brought to you by Macadoodles and Guess Who in Bentonville. We're watching Shedeur Sanders' career moving forward.
I like Shedeur, and I like Dion.
I do too.
Now I will say this: the turnoff is when everything, the music, the jewelry, everything's about money. Everything's about the dollar sign and look at me. I'm an individual brand. We got enough individual brands in sports right now, and to the point of where that more than anything is the biggest turnoff for me right now. I can't stand that stuff, and I understand why people passed on him.
What do you have here, Edward?
National Sportsbooks odds for starting QB for the Cleveland Browns week 1.
They got about 8 in the room, don't they?
They've got a lot. They've got Kenny Pickett, who's the favorite right now, at plus odds still, and Shedeur is right behind him. So we might see him play.
Shedeur's not going to start.
Dylan Gabriel.
Hey, you never know.
He's not.
Cleveland's a mess. Joe Flacco. I think it's going to be Joe Flacco week 1, if I had to guess.
Can you imagine being a Cleveland Browns fan?
Deshaun Watson's still there?
That was a smart investment. That was a good investment. Plenty of ROI there.
Talking about wanting to take your contract and rip it up, and boy, that was a
caller or a texter just brought up Tebow's name a minute ago. The circus came to town with Tebow, and teams decided it just wasn't worth the trouble. Not that he's not a good guy, not that they don't like him. It's just not worth the trouble. You're not that good. I mean, if you're a superstar, you're taking us to the Super Bowl.
It's so obvious that it was the perfect choice for the Browns. What do you have, Bart?
Just what to watch this weekend.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Brought to you by Macadoodles, north of the state line, Bella Vista, and Guess Who in Bentonville. Wine Down Wednesday, it's 15% off every bottle of wine in the store today, whether it's already on sale or not.
Baseball, Thursday through Saturday series. Game 1 Thursday, 6 o'clock on ESPN 2. Fridays at 7 o'clock on the SEC Network. Saturday, 2 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. Also have softball hosting LSU this weekend. Thursday at 6, Friday at 6, Saturday at 1. All those games streaming on SEC Network Plus.
And Robin Herron, softball pitcher, the ace of the women's softball team, is going to join us coming up.
Mere moments.
You're the expert, the softball expert in the room. Tell us about Robin.
Well, she's having a great year. She's ranked as a top 10 pitcher in the country by Softball America. 15-4 record this season. 2.25 ERA, 127 strikeouts in just 109 innings.
Wow. For the
having a
second
great year.
Ranked.
Does
Courtney
she know
Deifel,
you?
Arkansas women's softball team.
Nobody knows me.
Bart.
Nobody knows
Bart,
me, Chuck.
how's it going? No.
Everybody knows Bart.
I know that.
Yeah, he's like it's like a one
Has
name.
the cutout been to a softball game?
Oh, come on now. We got to do that.
It's only been to one game, period, I think.
Well, that's on us. That's on us.
The Texas basketball game.
That's on us.
I need to put somebody else in charge of it because my care factor on that dissipated when other things became a priority. 7 days a week, they've got wine tasting at Macadoodles and Guess Who. Open to close, competitive pricing, the best assortment of beer, wine, and spirits, and a level of service that is unmatched. That's the customer experience you get when you go to Macadoodles just north of the state line or Guess Who in Bentonville. And again, today's Wednesday, Wine Down Wednesday, 15% off every bottle of wine in the store. We're a little bit over our head here, but we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
There's no better shopping experience than you're going to find at Macadoodles or at Guess Who in Bentonville. And every Wednesday is Wine Down Wednesday. 15% off every bottle of wine in the store, even if it's already on sale. But when it comes to selection, amazing prices, and unbeatable customer service, Macadoodles and Guess Who in Bentonville is second to none. Wine, beer, and spirits. Stock up for your next party or just stop by and grab your favorite. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing we enjoy saying more than I told you so.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know much about new items, really. I mean, I go to the store. I see lots of things that baffle me.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Arkansas is hosting LSU in a 3-game softball series at Bogle Park. Same days as Arkansas is hosting Texas in baseball. So it's a big weekend. Hopefully the weather's good, Chuck. We got a little rain today.
50-50. 50-50 is what it says tomorrow.
So, by the way, you're going to have a little procedure tomorrow. You're going to be able to see again.
Yeah, I'm not going to be blind as a bat.
So I'll be in here solo tomorrow. We're gonna have like 15. I'm just going to be running community leaders through here tomorrow.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm sitting in your chair. Who wants to sit in Chuck's seat?
You going to bring the mayor in, city planners?
Tomorrow.
Thank him for moving the construction
Yeah, it is
here.
nice to be able to get out of our parking lot again. Our next guest, Robin Herron, ranked top 10 pitcher in the country by Softball America, 15-4 on the year, 2.25 ERA, 127 strikeouts in 109 innings. The Razorback softball team ranked second in the country right now. They've had a couple of huge series wins on the road, Florida and A&M. And now hosting LSU in a 3-game series. Robin, thanks for making time for us. We hope you're well today. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Robin, you're a junior. You're from Tampa, Florida. Similarities or differences? Fayetteville and Tampa.
Oh, gosh. Fayetteville is definitely more slow-paced and smaller than Tampa is, but I really have come to enjoy it, actually, so I love it here.
How would you describe being a part of this program that Coach Deifel's built? The park, just the environment, the facilities, and playing in this league?
Oh, gosh, it is a blessing. I have nothing but love and respect for our coaches. I think we have one of the best facilities in the country. Our stadium is just amazing. So, and being able to play in the SEC is it's an honor, really, because we're playing against the best competition in the country. So it's just so amazing every day. I just feel so blessed to be here.
Robin, I know you enjoy playing at home, and you got a big home series this weekend, but your team has done so well on the road. And I just got to ask you, winning 2 of 3 at A&M, going back to Florida for you, winning a couple of games. What's it like to win on somebody else's field like that when you go in and just kind of ruin their party?
Yeah, I think we might enjoy it a little too much. We love being known as the underdogs and going into A&M or going into Florida, and no one expects us to, win against them on their home field. But we kind of just take it as a challenge, and we just have so much fun when we're on the road like that and when we're not expected to win. So. I think some teams can be intimidated, but we definitely aren't.
Robin Herron, Razorback softball pitcher, ace for Courtney Deifel's softball team, with us here on the Chuck and Bo Show. I'll go the other way. What's it like playing at Bogle Park at home? What's it like being a softball player for the Razorbacks?
Oh, I love it so much, but being at home is so fun because our fans are just so supportive, and they cheer for us no matter what the outcome is. And I know that I think teams definitely feel intimidated to come into Bogle Park because of our fan base, and because when you're out there, you are just surrounded by Razorback fans, and their dedication is just unmatched. And I haven't really seen, when we've traveled, any fan base like ours, so it's just really good. It's really fun.
Robin, when you're doing well, everybody has something. Everybody plays a role. You talked a little bit earlier about the coaches. I'm curious. You've got good players, you got good coaches, you got a good ballpark. What brings it together, though? What makes it all work? Is there a secret sauce in all of this?
I think our team chemistry and our camaraderie is so good this year, and we are just so well connected, and we're even well connected with the coaches, and they're all well connected with each other. So we're all just one unit on the field rather than a bunch of individuals. So I think that's been the game changer. And I think this is just the most connected and close team that I've had here. So it's really special to, love each other so much and just be able to just go to war with each other.
I got to ask, because I'm not, I'm a little naive on some softball things. What's it like having to wear the mask while you're pitching? I'm sure you're it's nothing to you now,
But is that awkward?
No. I mean, I've worn my mask my whole life, but I think it would be more weird and awkward if I didn't wear it because now it's like a part of me. So I honestly don't even notice it when I'm pitching. I kind of just block it out.
Hey, Robin, we talked about the fact you came to Arkansas from Tampa. Softball in the state of Florida has seemingly, anyway, been a big deal for a while. In Arkansas, it's still newer. I'm not saying it's new, but it's newer. Mm-hmm. Give me an idea about when you see young girls at the ballpark that you know are watching you play and you're providing a little inspiration for them. You're growing the sport in a sense in our state. Do you do you realize that's happening as you're out there, I guess is what I'm asking.
I definitely think so. And I think, we've seen it. I've noticed it more this year because, we have all these little girls like when we played at Central Arkansas or when we're at home and we get our anthem buddies that comes out on the field with us before the games. It's just, I feel like there's more of an abundance of these young girls, and it's just so exciting. And especially when it makes my heart so warm when they're so excited to come and hang out with us, or even if we just give them a wave from the field, they get so excited. And I think just being that inspiration for them is just so fun. And that's something that I didn't really think much of before I came to college, but now that I'm here and I'm a little older now, I think I definitely value it a lot more.
Our producer, Bart Pullman, would also get excited if y'all would give him a wave.
Would you wave at Bart at a game? He's at every game.
He is at every game. We got to get
him a wave next time.
Yeah, we got to get his cardboard cutout down there too. Yeah. But just a little wave.
He gets excited too when that
One of the
happens.
great things about going to a softball game, though, honestly, is the intimacy of it, like she's talking about.
Yes,
you
there's
feel
no
like
question.
you're right in the like we've talked about disconnected and some other things that we've been into today, but it's the opposite when you go watch a softball game. Robin, what do you like to do? Do you watch Netflix? Do you watch HBO Max, Apple? Do you have any go-to shows you can share with us?
Oh gosh, I actually love binge watching TV shows. My all-time fave, I would say, since I was a kid, was Grey's Anatomy. Okay. I think a lot of people out there can relate.
Yep.
But one of the shows that I watched that stuck with me is Ozark.
Yeah,
on Netflix.
Good show.
Yeah.
Very good show. Very good show. There's so many I could name, but I definitely do love to watch some TV for sure.
Ozark's. Have you been over? Since you're kind of in the area.
Yeah,
have you tried
been
to
up
go
to
over
Lake
to
of the
the
Ozarks? Have you been up there yet?
No, I haven't, sadly.
You're gonna have to go check that out. What do you want to do when you're done? When you're done with softball, you got plenty of time. But when softball is done at the University of Arkansas, what do you hope's next?
I'm gonna go to a grad program to become a nuclear medicine technologist.
Holy smokes!
Wow.
What? Run that by me again. Wow.
That's usually the reaction I get. It's a type of imaging specialist that injects radioactive isotopes into patients to get images of their body. So it sounds a lot crazier than it actually is, but I usually get the whoa, what is that? Whenever I tell people.
Well, that sounds like you got to be pretty intelligent. It sounds
All
like
four of
some
us
pretty
tilted our heads like
stuff.
dogs when she started going through this. Like, what?
Well, that's pretty awesome. That's
Thank you.
I have not heard of that before. Well, hey, congrats on the season you're having. Not just you, but
Thank
the team.
you.
And continued success and good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate you making time for us and good luck against LSU this weekend.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to do it. It's always nice to to get to know the athletes a little bit when you can, especially somebody that's having so much success at her level. I know
That's what people want right there. That's the ideal of college sports right there. That is the package.
Took the words right out of my mouth. It's like it's if you want to feel connected, and it may sound like, oh, we're just over here, trying to give some publicity to softball or whatever. Bart can tell you firsthand, he's fallen in love with the sport the last couple of years. He's entertained by it.
He enjoys going to the game.
Yeah.
And, we used to see this in baseball, and they still do it in baseball. But I can remember when baseball was just beginning to get big. And, those kids come over to the rail, and they do it in softball. They come over to the rail after the game. They sign all that stuff. Lots of them stay until literally the last autograph is signed. And here's the thing. Even some of the more prominent athletes that act like they don't like it, they all love to be asked for their autograph. They do. Now, some of them may big shot it a little bit more than others. But I like the fact that softball players, the baseball, and they're not the only ones, but it is a much more intimate setting, as you say. And that is, when you hear Robin Herron talk, that's what we hope college sports will be. And it still is, just not always in the things we enjoy watching the most.
Take advantage of it. I would go experience it if you haven't. What do you have, Bart? You got something?
Last home weekend series of the season. Last series of the season, of the regular season, for softball this weekend. So it's a great time. Weather's supposed to be nice this weekend. Get out there. Check it out if you haven't. Then SEC tournament, and they'll be hosting a regional at Bogle Park as well.
Ryan in Prairie Grove's got the suggestion. Bart should be the voice of the Razorback softball team. You think we can get that done?
I don't want to take anybody's job from
I don't think anybody does it. Nobody does it.
Why not? Why don't you do
it? Want it? You want the job,
Why don't you
Bart?
just do like a watch stream type of like a McAfee, a Manning megacast kind of a deal?
Bartcast.
I'll watch that.
Some of the SEC schools do broadcast.
Maybe
softball.
Get Jordan Hudson to co-host with you.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't
see,
think so.
See what happens.
You lost me there.
Hey, by the way, Mother's Day is coming up, guys. We're not far away. I want to remind you about Blakeman's, because if you get a purple bag from Blakeman's, you can be a hero. You can save the day.
That's right.
It's more about the experience than anything else. But going in there and marking a moment like Mother's Day, they're going to help you figure out like what's appropriate for your budget, for your wife or the mom or whatever it might be. But you want to let her know that she's that important. You get a purple bag from Blakeman's, and that's a thing. Also, while you're there, you're going to have an incredible experience. The 8,500 square foot newly remodeled showroom is just incredible to see. Have a cup of coffee, Onyx cup of coffee, a latte from Cafe B while you're there, or a Prosecco. Do it this weekend. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry at 10 Rogers, the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks. We'll get to a phone call or two when we come back on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly, and Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Flight by Yuengling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yuengling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry. It's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
At the Stonebreaker Hotel, we believe in the art of gathering, whether over a thoughtfully prepared meal or a quiet moment on Markham Hill. Start your day with breakfast classics from the all-day menu, served from 7:30 to 1. Savor shareable bites from the bar and lounge menu until 10. And let the dinner menu from 5 to 9 bring familiar flavors with a fresh twist. And for a weekend well spent, how about brunch? Rooted in connection, designed for comfort. Learn more at stonebreakerhotel.com. Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweatnum Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com and click on the Sweatnum Edge.
You want to talk about washed? You're being brainwashed by idiots. You're following idiots.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, sir. Anybody that says sleep's overrated is not 66 years old, I'm going to tell you right now.
Boy, you're not lying.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
You know, we talk about Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, a lot, and we talk about their agents and how good they are, and you might ask, well, what makes them so good? Starts with the training program. Nobody's got a better training program than Weichert. I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. And so when you partner with Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, whatever questions you've got, and I can tell you from my experience, I had a bunch of them. They answered every single one correctly, as a matter of fact. And I think Bo's family could tell you the same thing. They don't just answer your questions. They give you the right answers.
Oh, Lord!
Yeah, there you go. And helps you save money. They've got offices in Northwest Arkansas, Washington and Benton counties, Fort Smith, Branson. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can log on to WeichertGriffin.com.
Allen's and Ozark. Sorry for the Eddie crap.
No, it was
there.
fine. It was fine.
I didn't know it was going to be that
I could
loud.
feel it coming. I could feel it coming.
Allen and Ozark, good morning. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Actually, I'm in Springfield now.
All right.
Appreciate you guys taking the call.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Been on hold a while.
Every morning I listen to you guys. I get about an hour. I live in Lampe, drive to work. You guys have made me an Arkansas Razorback fan, over the last couple of years. I listened to Tommy Kraft I can't remember the other guy.
That would be Ty. That would be Ty.
Ty. I was thinking Trey, but
Yeah, Trey, Ty,
Poor
Tim.
kid.
Golly,
Yeah,
man, that's brutal.
you know.
Yeah, we know.
Exactly. I just wanted to touch base a little bit on the no taxes on the college players.
Right.
At first, I was like everybody else. I was a little upset. You know, I thought it was BS. But I think it will actually help Arkansas unless all states do it. Because if a guy's going to go to Arkansas or Missouri and he's going to make $1 million,
yeah,
in Arkansas he's really going to make 1.25 if he doesn't have to pay taxes. I mean, you know, he's going to save that 25%, which will help the school, which helps the program. And you know, would we be mad if they done it to your job or my job or nurses or police? You know, maybe not.
Yeah.
But and then Cecil, I believe it was Cecil that called the other day. You know, he was upset about it as well, but he was okay with it on the basketball team.
That was a different caller. That was a different caller. Well, what he said was, Melvin said the only team I'm excited about is the basketball team. I don't care about any of the others. And the point was, well, you know, that's where the most NIL money is right now, at least in terms of what individuals are making.
I really appreciate Alan listening.
Yeah, that is nice.
For
That's
an
good.
hour a day.
That's right.
A lot of stuff.
Hey, I've been to Lampe, man. Lampe's a good spot.
Well, wait, listen. You go get your procedure tomorrow so you can come back and see the light of day.
Yeah, be able to actually
Chuck's gonna
see
be
you
out
guys.
Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm planning on being here.
We're going to be in here doing the work. Doing
right.
the Chuck. We're going to do
That's
the
right.
best we can to make Chuck proud tomorrow. Have
That's
a
right.
great Wednesday. Almost 9 o'clock. Good morning.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better.